Courtney and welcome to my channel. If you haven't already done so, feel free to check out my latest video, What Makes Me Pick Up a Book, where I go through the many instances where I decide, okay, is this the next book for me? How do I go about picking it from a bookshelf that I currently own, from a bookstore, from a library, from audiobooks, to online book shopping, so check that out. Also, I have several social media channels that you can feel free to follow as well, including my Twitter and my Bookstagram accounts, where I post a little bit more regularly, basically every day, whereas on my YouTube channel, which you're watching right now, I only post maybe once a week. So today I am going to do my February reading vlog. So I asked over on Instagram if you all could help me vote and pick my next book for this month. So last month, for the month of January, I did The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. And this month, as it is Black History Month, I wanted to do a book by a Black author. So I picked 3 different books that I had you all choose from. Actually, I think 4. Yes, 4? 3? I don't remember, but one came out above the others that were listed, and that book is Twisted: The Tangled History of Black Hair Culture by Emma Dabiri. So this details the account of Emma Dabiri, who goes through a lot of research. It's a nonfiction book and memoir where she discusses the history of Black hair and how it stems from sometimes racism, or inevitably racism, as well as wanting to be liberated and free to do what you want with your hair. So I will be honest, right now my hair is not in its natural state. It is not chemically straightened either, which I know she's going to be covering in her book, but I do blow my hair out. So I think, actually I know that is a result of how I've viewed myself, viewed my hair in today's world, and just being not really sure how to do it naturally. I do have mixed hair, so I am half black and half white, so that does play a little bit into the texture of my hair, but still there is a lot in my natural hair texture that does have a lot of black hair tendencies, including having naturally curly hair. So that, I know it's going to be talked about in this book, and I'm excited to read more about that because I do want to own my hairstyle in its natural form. So I guess in a way, it is a positive that I don't chemically straighten my hair anymore. That was a big thing for me in middle school, through high school, and beginning of college, where I went every 6 months to get my hair chemically straightened. So that is a process. I'm sure I'll be talking more about that as I read through this book and give you some updates of what I'm reading and what she is saying about that. Maybe not phase or fad, but that tendency for Black women to do that. So I'm interested to see that. But as I was growing up, my hair was always in braids, or I just wore it really, really curly. My mom did my hair all the time, which was fun. So I liked when she did my hair, but then when I got to middle school and high school, it got to be the too cool to have your mom do your hair kind of thing. So I tried to do things on my own. I did have braids or cornrows in 6th grade. That was an experience as well, and one I did not go back to, which is fine. That's something that some people are still able to do, and I just didn't find the patience or the time to do that anymore. So yeah, I'm sure this is not the end of where my hair trends or tendencies will go. I know I'll keep changing it as I continue to get older and I experience more things in life. I have gotten many compliments on my naturally curly hair and wanting to embrace that more. I just need to be more comfortable, be confident with it, and then also know how to care for it and treat it in a natural way. So that's more, I guess, like the positive spin to this book. I think it's going to be covering a lot more challenging topics, like I said, racism for sure, the roots of Black hair culture from Africa to modern day to contemporary, and what it looks like in the future. So yeah, it'll be interesting for sure. I'm sure I'll be enlightened, learn a lot. Like I mentioned, I am mixed. That doesn't mean I know everything there needs to know about being Black, or having Black hair, and all of that in between. So let's get started. So how I do these reading vlogs, you'll see a bit of me actually reading the book. I have book darts, I have pens, highlighters, those kind of things to make notes throughout. I think in here there are like images and graphics that I might point out if I find that I want to share those with you, but I'll stop myself maybe every 100, maybe 75 to 100 pages or so, or if something is really enlightening or a quote I really want to share with you all, and say that to you. I'm still deciding, and I don't know if there's just really like spoilers in a nonfiction book per se that's been heavily researched and is based on facts and history and everything. So I don't know if I'm in any danger of revealing any spoilers, but just as a heads up, I will be most likely talking about elements in this book. And if you don't want to hear all of them, then feel free to watch this at another time. So yeah, you'll see me reading, stopping, reflecting, maybe eating. I gotta do that at some point today. I'm hoping to finish this in one day. Let's see. It is 244 pages. It is single spaced, pretty small margins. So I don't know. And with nonfiction books too, I do want to read them slower because I feel there's so much to unpack with a lot of what is being said that if I do finish this today, that's great, but I don't want to like try to finish it and sprint through just to say that I finished it in a day. So we'll see as we go through this journey together. So that's that. All right, I'm about 30 pages through so far, so not too far, but I just wanted to pause and give a couple reactions and some reflections. So she's talking about her childhood and then also similar childhoods of other young girls, young Black girls around the world. So Emma is mixed, so I appreciate that perspective, as well as some of her friends or the women she talks about are Black, so giving both sides of what that means to have mixed or Black hair in terms of what she's referring to as colorism and what that means to have neat hair or I guess be appropriate or professional. So she talks a lot about that and how young girls who have naturally hair and are styling it appropriately are still being seen as having messy hair or nappy. So it's just interesting of trying to own the hairstyle that you were born with and be natural and be healthy with it, but then being punished because it doesn't fit into the norms of what the society is that you are currently wearing that hairstyle. So I found that interesting. There's also a part, I'll have to read this to you. So she says, what's my hair like again? Oh yes, of course. Dry, tough, hard, nappy, frizzy, wild. The English language has bequeathed us this list of pejoratives which are perceived as adequate to describe Afro-textured hair in its entirety. Now don't get me wrong, I know Caucasian hair can be described as greasy, lank, or thin, but it's not routinely described thus. And can you imagine the horror if I casually referred to a white woman's hair in this way to her face? So I thought that was interesting, as Black hair does like normally tend to be called like nappy and all that. But if we were to say what white hair is when it's not at its healthiest or whatever, like that would not fly, or like that would be like, why did you say that? That's super weird. So she also says there are a lot more beautiful and stronger words for having Black hair, but they're just not widely used or well known. So I also appreciate she mentions how Black hair or Afro hair just has different requirements to keep it healthy. So I thought about this when I was younger, and she mentions this too, how for Black or mixed hair, you don't necessarily have to wash it as often because of this lubricant called sebum that comes into your hair and like moisturizes your hair. So for mixed hair, the curls or the tightness of the curls just doesn't allow it to get to the throughout the hair, so it gets dried out. So actually washing it frequently dries out your hair even more, so you have to leave it be. But for white women or other hair types, it's normal to wash hair more frequently because it does get greasy because of that lubricant. So again, it's just different. It's just how we are born and how we are made. So I thought that was enlightening to know, like, oh yeah, I remember when I was younger, I had my hair in braids or in tight curls and didn't have to wash it. And it was great. It was like one less thing to do. But now as I continue to to blow my hair out with a blow dryer and use a straightener, it does get greasier, I guess because of the lubricant like I mentioned, but also the oils and stuff that I put in my hair. So I do go about 2 or 3 days without washing my hair. But as I think about her points about messy, neat, having that Eurocentric hairstyle, I know I put that on myself, and just seeing how the rest of the world has been, or like different entertainment movies, films, TV shows, whatever. I know I put that pressure on myself because of those and just like me being uncomfortable or not confident enough. But when especially now working from home, like there's a lot of FaceTime on video and video conference calls. So if I go for a run or I do something and I haven't washed my hair in a while, I get super self-conscious because I don't know if my hair looks presentable or not, or like people can tell, or I don't know. So it's amazing to see how she's embracing that. It's just a difference of hair texture, of hairstyles. And I really like she included a diagram of hair textures and like tightness of curls. So I would put myself probably in the 3A, 3B of what my natural hair looks like. And Emma puts herself like at the end here of, I think it's 4C, is that what it is? Yeah, 4C or 4B. So yeah, just different approaches. And I appreciate that a lot. Okay, so I'm about 100 pages in, right around there. So there's a few things I wanted to point out because I'm about to take a lunch break. So there's a few pieces that made me smile, made me learn more about the culture of black hair. And one of those was the names that I at least had known braids as. And there's a whole string of styles of braiding one's hair, and using the words cornrows and cane rowing references an enslaved past, because that's referring to the rows and rows of corn and cane in the Caribbean, where slaves had to work to earn their living, or to earn life in general. So there's these different styles. So these are different examples, and they have African names. So one being, and forgive my pronunciation, Kolezi, Korobo, and Suku. So those are different styles of braiding one's hair. So I didn't know that until now, so that's good to know. Another thing I appreciated was Emma referring to when someone's hair is being done. It is a lengthy process for black hair, whether it is braiding it, adding in tracks or weaves, or just styling it in general. It is an act of love by having somebody do your hair. So like I mentioned, my mom doing my hair all the time when I was little, or when I went to a hairstylist, it's in either, they said this too, that it's in like somebody's home where you're like sitting in the living room on the living room floor, and like you're between their legs and they're doing your hair that way. And it's a lot of conversation. It's a lot of socialization, community building, and like I said, an act of love. So I appreciated that too, that it's not just a solo activity or experience. There's a whole community behind you and with you as you're doing your hair, and they call it squaggles, and being in a sorority in a way. So that I thought was good. When I get my hair done now, I do have a white hairstylist, but she knows how to do black hair. And I find it interesting, whenever I call to make an appointment, I always say like my hair takes longer than usual, referring to like what white hair usually is. It's just a quick wash, maybe a dry, quick trim, whatever. But I always say, yeah, my hair takes a little bit longer to blow out, to get through the knots and the curls and everything. So it's just interesting how I have to give that preface, because I mean, it does, I'm trying to be respectful of their time as a hairstylist and the salon itself. But it's funny, like she always knows, and she makes sure that she has enough time. And it is a really good, she does most of the talking, which is fine. I'm more of a listener, but it is a really cool experience because I do have a longer time in the chair because of my hair texture and what I want done with it. So it's an interesting type of community building there. Another part that I liked was the section called Working 9 to 5, and it's in the larger part of Ink at the Time. And it talks a lot about how there's a lot of preparation and time preparation you have to think about for black hair. And I talked a little bit about how I have a lot of video calls for work and like how I want to be presentable and everything. But I always found that it was normal, and maybe it's not, amongst my friend group and like people that I know that don't have my hair texture, that I have to plan when I do my hair. So I mentioned I don't wash it every day, every 3 to 4 days, 2 to 4 days, depending on if it's like oily or whatever from me working out. But I plan when I'm going to do my hair. So it's on my to-do list in my Trello board to do my hair. So for example, this morning before I started filming this vlog, I budgeted the time it took to shower, to blow out my hair and straighten my hair. And that's just like part of the process of getting it to the way I want it to look. And they make a reference here of it. Wouldn't it be nice if I could just brush my hair in the morning and just be done? And like that's all you had to do. But sometimes I can get away with that when I naturally straighten my hair. But other times, like I need to go through the whole process, like I mentioned, when I get out of the shower and have it washed. It takes a while, and my pattern isn't as thick or curly as other Black women, so I know I probably don't have it as long as other women do, but it does take a while. So I thought that was comedic, but also like realistic at the same time. The last thing I'll mention is there's a section about relaxing your hair or chemically straightening your hair. I said before that I haven't done that in years, and a lot of women who want to go more natural and stop that process, they do what's called the chop and like cut their hair off after they grow out as much as possible the chemically straightened part and try to get more of their natural hair follicles coming through, and then they cut their hair off and kind of start over again. I didn't do that chop. I just stopped getting my hair chemically straightened, and then I think at this point it's pretty much all natural. Like I don't think I have anything left over that was part of like the chemical part of it from years ago. But knowing how much damage I was doing to my hair by doing that, and I didn't even go that often. I went every 6 months, which technically to have the result that you want when chemically straightening your hair, like the chemicals break down your hair, like literally are stripping your hair of the curl and like getting the pattern to just be straight, but you need to maintain that, and that happens every 6 to 8 weeks. I believe you're supposed to be going back in, but I did every 6 months, so still not the healthiest, but probably healthier than doing it more frequently than 6 months. But yeah, the process of it, she goes into detail of like literally everything that's happening to your hair, from the chemistry part of it, the biology part of it. It's just fascinating, and a good reminder that, you know, like I should be taking care of my hair the natural way as much as possible to make sure that it's as healthy as it can be. And she mentioned she stopped doing that to her hair when she got pregnant because there could be some fertility issues with chemically straightening your hair, which I didn't know about either, and many other potential like health risks. Besides just like getting a burned scalp or like alopecia, which is just like slight balding or your like hair falling out. There's just a lot there, and that's all because of what that we think, or we've been told, we think it's been in a lot of like society and like entertainment that's what beauty looks like. So we're doing all this harm to our hair for these standards that aren't realistic or shouldn't be in existence. So yeah, I'm learning a lot, and that's enough for me right now to reflect on, and I'm gonna take a lunch break and then dive back in. So quick update, one reading, one not reading, as seen from the previous clip. The hallway alarm for my apartment complex started going off, and I waited for a little bit because didn't really know what was going on. Hadn't heard that sound before, really. And then I walked outside. There was a neighbor there that's like, I don't know where this is coming from. So we both went on an adventure to find where the sound was coming from. Found the alarm bell going off above the sprinkler system door on the first floor. And then another neighbor popped out saying, yep, called the office, and they said not to worry about it. So, cool, as Jake Peralta would say. And then, as you saw, 3 fire trucks, 2 squad cars show up. Nothing's been told to us residents, and I'm like, do I leave the premises? Do I go somewhere else? Do I stand 100 feet from the building? What's going on? And you see the ladder extended from one of the fire trucks. What is happening? So out there watching, got to talk to my neighbors, officially met them and know their first names, which is great since I've been living here for a few years and people have come and gone. But yes, I now know my neighbors. Nothing like a alarm bell going off to know who's living next door to you. So that's awesome. One of them I had met before. We just didn't exchange names when there was a snake outside the apartment. Yes, a snake about 4 feet, 5 feet long. And that was an adventure too. But anyway, what happened was, for this time, for the alarm going off and the neighbors meeting outside, was because it's been so cold here, pipes have been frozen, the sprinkler systems have busted in one of the garages on the first floor, and that flooded the garage, and I think one of the garages next to it. So all this water was like streaming into the street. It's going to ice over because of it being so cold the next few nights. And yeah, it was interesting. Like, thankfully nobody was hurt, nothing major it looked like was damaged. They did have to wrench the garage door open or axe it open, and then another one of my neighbors had appeared in and saw that a few of the boxes that were in the garage were now destroyed because of the water damage, but didn't look like a lot of things, just depended on what was of value in those boxes. But anyway, no lives that I could tell were hurt or injured in any way. So I guess that's a plus. But another plus is getting to talk to people in a socially distant way. But yeah, the alarm has now ceased, back inside, and I will continue with my reading, which, like I said, update here, page 163. My neighbors, I don't think these are the ones I've met, but they are downstairs now blasting their music. So apologize if you hear that. I'll put on some Regency music and really just, drown it out. But yes, I'm going to crush the rest of this, which surprisingly, it is pretty fast paced. Like the history that she's talking about with Black hair culture, she is Irish as well, but she talks about her experience in the US and the UK, and then her family, or her father's side at least, coming from Africa. So it's a lot of different perspectives coming through, which I really like. So yes, we're gonna read some more and then I'll give an update as I conclude. Here we go.
Hesitant at first, but then I realized this is my calling. That I can help others the way Addie helped me. And that's why I'm here. It worked for me. It worked for y'all.
That's one hell of a story. Give me 110. Me too.
How much did she say? No, thank you, babe. Let me know how you're doing with it, okay? Check back in with me. Thank you. Let's pick up where I left off.
I ended up finishing Twisted last night, but I wanted to kind of decompress and kind of reflect on a lot of the content and subject matter that I read. Plus I was just very tired and not trying to wrap up a video very quickly, so I waited till this morning. But as you just saw in the last clip, I ended up watching a few episodes of Self-Made on Netflix. So this is the story of Madam C.J. Walker with her hair care product, and that was, or her story was mentioned in this book. And I remember when I read that part, it was very brief, the section that it did talk about her. I thought about that show because I remember seeing advertisements for it in a trailer. So I was very fortunate that I was able to find it on Netflix and just got engrossed right away. Clearly there's some based on a true story elements in there. So like, yes, there is some truth to it, but there's also some Hollywood fictionalization with it. But I thought it was very interesting, so I'm hoping to finish that tonight. I think there's 4 episodes in it. It's a limited series, but super interesting learning about women at that time, Black women at that time, wanting to share beauty and helping other women achieve success, where a lot of the times they didn't have the right look, quote unquote look, to be in different roles that they were trying for. So that's one of the things I wanted to reflect on today, is that element of beauty and feeling beautiful. So there's a part in here where there was a study done by Glamour and L'Oreal Paris where they asked 2,000 women what they, or how they describe themselves, or if they describe themselves as beautiful. And it says that 59% of women, of Black women, describe themselves as beautiful, 32% Hispanic did, and 25% of white women. So it was just interesting that it said they agreed with the statement, "I'm happy the way that I am." And it mentions here that growing up, Black women are taught you're strong, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're enough. And that mindset is passed down from generation to generation as a defense mechanism against discrimination. The more confident you are, the better equipped you'll be able to deal with racism. So I mean, I guess I see that in a few different ways. One, that's great that we have this strength and this confidence, but the matter of why we have that, or like why we need that, is a little troubling in my mind. So yeah, I guess I could see that confidence. The more women or Black women in my life that I know about and think about how confident and strong they are, that makes a lot of sense that that is a part of the culture, and that is a way that we / they, like I'm trying to include myself in that, but I know I'm not very confident. Yeah, it was just very enlightening to see where that confidence comes from and why it manifests. So another insight into this book that I wasn't expecting. And then another part I found interesting was how a lot of women use hairstyles that have been called unprofessional or like ragged or whatever in their lives, and then that's suddenly like cool and edgy and I don't know, hip. So this gives the example of Daenerys in Game of Thrones, where every time she, I think, like wins a battle or like kills her enemies or something, more and more braids get added to her hairstyle. But in that, it's like a badge of honor, and that actually goes back many years to African culture where that was a thing. But for Black women today to do that, it's like, it's hood, it's not appropriate, it's not professional. So it's it's kind of ridiculous in a way that the hairstyle that on one person could be inappropriate and on another person could be like new and exciting and everybody wants to be like her. So that I thought was telling of where we're at as a society. And there's other actresses that are mentioned that do similar things with their hair, and it's not, and it's seen again as new and exciting. Overall, for this book, I found it a few different things. I found it enlightening. I found it very revealing, very true, honest, raw with her experience, and then the women that she interviewed or the studies that she conducted or researched. And it shows a lot about the celebration of Black hair, but also like the struggle. And I find that a lot with a lot of Black History Month or like learning about Black history in general, where there's like most of the stories told are about tragedy and the sadness of what it's like to be Black. And yes, that is a part of the history, but there's also celebration. So while I was on Netflix and Hulu last night before I turned on Self-Made, I was looking through the selection of what is available for Black History Month and sharing Black stories, and it's the same thing. A lot of it is very much like the struggle and a lot to do with like slavery and social injustice. Again, very important in history, but I guess I was just looking for more celebratory success stories. So that's why Self-Made was kind of in between of having the struggle and the celebratory aspect of it. So I appreciated that. But even in this book, it's not just about the hair. Like, yes, she touches on that. That's like the main premise of the book, but she talks a lot about Black culture in general and like our history from being in Africa to enslavement to escaping to countries in South America and all over the world. Like I mentioned, she is Irish. So what that looks like I said, it does talk about the celebrations and the struggles, and I appreciate that, but it's also a level of discomfort in there. Like, even as somebody who identifies as like half Black, biracial, multiracial, it's still uncomfortable to read and to talk about. It's meant to make us think, to make us be more aware and be more inclusive and just see what, like, I think it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of mentality that she talks about in here, of like what it's like to do one thing that we're being asked to do by society to make our hair look a certain way, but then that's not being true to ourselves, and that's like not, that's assimilating in a different kind of way. Not even assimilating, adapting, I don't know. But then if you choose your genuine, authentic self and wanting to be more natural, that was the thing too. And this is seen in Self-Made as well, where natural for hairstyles was still tamed when people were trying to be like, oh, you can still be natural, but it has to be like tamed natural. And what they mean is like soft curls. It's not maybe an afro. It's not growing out, it's growing down. So that was another interesting part too, where natural could be for women with 4B or 4C hair texture types. Hair grows out and not down, and that's what being natural is, but that's not what people mean when they say, oh, you can have your hair natural, or like they're trying to advertise like this is good for all natural hair types, but there's still like a soft curl to it. So I think I'm going to pay attention more to advertisements when it includes Black hair in it and see what they mean when they say, oh yeah, you can wear your hair natural, because that might not be the full natural hair that Black women are expressing or wanting to share. Anyway, yes, this is probably a much longer video than you probably signed up for a 244 page book, but so many tabs. Look at all those tabs in there. So lots of it had to do with like different research studies that I liked, different quotes about being yourself and embracing that love of one's hair, love of one's culture, heritage, whatever. I've learned a lot from it. I feel like there were so many nuggets of truth and things that I need to think about more when it comes to my own hairstyle, how I treat my hair, and what it looks like for other Black women with different hair textures, or with that range that it showed. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, so lots to think about. There were some elements that I didn't quite understand that I need to do some more research on when it comes to some of the history. Need to do some more studying there. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and this reading vlog. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I do reading vlogs once a month, and I will probably be doing a poll shortly over on Instagram to see what my March reading vlog will look like. So feel free to vote there. And this is Black History Month, like I mentioned. I am attending a Black History Month Bookstagrammer night later this week. I'm very excited about. We're gonna have some discussions, and 2 of my friends who are also bookstagrammers organized the night. I'm very excited and happy to participate in that. But yeah, I look forward to talking to you all again soon. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below some of your thoughts or books that you think I should do reading vlogs for in the future. If you want to hit subscribe or the notification bell so you know when more videos from me come out. I usually post on Mondays. So anyway, yeah, I hope you have a great day and happy reading.